morning. This is the first, or excuse me, this is the Kubeflow community meeting for January 9th in 2024. I want to remind everybody that this meeting is being governed by the Kubeflow Code of Conduct and that it is being recorded. We're real excited this year because we have a lot of new activity going on in the community, including a new release, which is being planned and underway. And so we want to get into that. There's a lot of issues in our last meeting that we talked about. We're going to come back to some of these PRs and tracking issues here at the top because we discussed those in the last meeting, but we should come back and try to close these out. There's too many of these up here at the top. So let's get those done. But in this meeting, I think what we're going to try to do is move quickly towards just status so we can get started in the community for this year after the break, including what the update on Kubeflow 1.9 is. Ricardo, would you like to give an update from the release team meeting from yesterday?
Yeah, sure. About our release meeting yesterday, I had a quick chat with Daniela last week, and given the need of a new release manager and the lack of volunteers, we decided to I'll volunteer myself as the 1.9 release manager, and I'll have Daniela to mentor myself through this new release. So thank you so much for the opportunity. I'll work with Stefano, who will be the product manager for 1.9 release, and we're gonna sync up together for this first task we need to solve with the upcoming 1.9 release, including all the roadmap for the working groups, dependencies, and we need to also talk about which Kubernetes version to support. Probably it's something we could discuss as a community right now, but it's up to you if it's the right moment or not. I'll sync up also with all the other working groups in their respective meetings, so we can plan for the expected version that will be shipped into 1.9 and what are the respective roadmaps for all of these working groups. Also, I need to say that right now we have a good number of members for the release team, but we don't have enough members. We need 2, maybe 3 more to compose this team, as we're still lacking some working groups liaisons for 1.9. So if anyone would like to volunteer, reach out to me or Stefano, and we'll be glad to have you on board for this release. Back to you, Josh.
Great update. Thank you very much. So you covered a lot there. The first one around being the dependencies. So we do want to get the word out about what the dependencies potentially could be. I think typically we would probably go Kubernetes is one of the first dependencies we need to decide on. And I think the highest Kubernetes version we're supporting is 126 right now. Is that right? With 1.8?
That's right. Naturally, the 1.9 release should cover 1.27 and 1.28. The only concern here is the end of life dates for 127. So
Right. So just for folks on the community, especially those in the working groups and the distributions, we definitely need feedback on this early about what the Kubernetes version should be. And Ricardo and Stefano are going to come up with, a proposal. But as we've talked about before in the past, having 3 releases, 26, 27, 28, may be a lot of testing for people. So we definitely need input on which releases, and I think that we'll need to have that. Go ahead, Julius.
Yeah, the problem is if you check the support, or the time until 27 months out of support, it's quite soon, I would say. So we have to at least go to 1.28 to have something working by the end of the year, I think, until Kubeflow 1.10 comes out. I would even try to go for 1.29, but I'm not sure whether this is realistic.
I think also there's nothing really stopping anything we're doing from working with 127, 28, or 29. We just need to make sure we align SDO versions. That's all. So I think we should. My preference is defaulting to 128 for like the default version, and then testing 129 and testing 127.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that all makes sense. Again, there are, questions about what the cloud vendors are running, right? So is Google and Amazon and IKS and everybody, are they on those most recent versions?
So I had a quick research about those distributions. Looks like they are supporting a wide range of Kubernetes versions, including the latest ones. I believe covering 127 to 129 will cover perfectly all the other distributions.
All right. So anyway, we need some feedback to help, obviously, Stefano and Ricardo to do this. The other piece is the working group versions. So we don't have a calendar yet, but it looked like it'd probably be sometime in the Marchish or April timeframe. But it would be good to know from the working groups, like Katib and the notebooks team, maybe not so much the notebooks team, the training operator, Pacer, what their releases numbers might be, so we can start to understand if we're lining up with what they have in that in the first quarter timeframe. Is anybody here from Katib or the training operator? I thought that case.
Yeah, I'm on the training operator.
Do you know what release they're on now? We
can check. Yeah.
I think they might be on 17.
1.7. You're talking about the training
Yeah.
operator release or something else?
The training operator release. What did 1.8 come with?
We have 1.7 right now.
1.7. So would they be 1.8? Something like that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, we released 1.7 last November, so not too far back yet. So.
All right, so if we can start to fill that in, obviously we have some liaisons and others to come in. This is great. Stefano, we look forward to you taking over on this and really, going forward. Is there, so your biggest request coming out of this right now is you need a few more volunteers for liaisons. Is that what you're asking for, right? Ask is that you need a couple of liaisons. 2 to 3 liaisons for working groups. Okay, I think that's good for 1.9. And then there was some talk about 1.8.1, and I thought that we were going to actually, I don't know if Danielle is here. But it looked like 1.8.1 was back alive and that there was going to be a release. Is that what you heard yesterday, Ricardo?
Sorry, Josh. I got sidetracked here. What was the question?
No, I thought I heard or saw via our meetings and also emails that Daniela was going to produce a 1.8.1.
Yeah, that was my understanding as well. Fortunately, she couldn't join meeting today, but I'll sync up with her if needed.
Okay, so it's in process, but we don't have dates on it yet. No dates yet. No asks from the community. I guess the one thing that we may want to do is that if folks do want to test 1.8.1, be nice if we could get some people being ready to test this probably later this month. Okay, let's move on to the steering committee. Thank you very much, Ricardo. Amber, what's going on with the steering committee elections?
So we opened up the voting phase yesterday. It'll be open for 3 weeks until the 29th, and then we'll announce the results on the 30th. As you can see, we have 24 emails that we still need for people to vote. And I have, per Matthew's suggestions, I totally spaced it when I was putting them in the issue. I've done the at and tagged everybody, so everybody should get a notification through Gmail now, or not Gmail, through GitHub now.
I don't think they'll get the notification if you edit an existing one. I don't know if someone could confirm that was on that list.
I'll just add it to a new comment then. Either way, we have the list here. I think we've added three people reached out to me. So if you're on this list or you know someone on this list, please just, let them know, and then I'll create a new comment and do the at tags for everybody. We have, just so everybody's aware, there were 59 eligible voters. 35 have been sent keys, which leaves the 24 that we don't have. So if somebody says, or you're on this call and you don't have your key, then check your spam and double check the email that's on your GitHub account, because that's what we used to send out the keys. Other than that, we're on track.
How many have keys? 35?
24. What? How many have been sent keys?
Yeah.
35.
Okay. Okay, great. Okay. Any other action items on this besides voting?
Nope. I'm working on the blog post to go out to announce. So all that we have to do is drop in the names. So I'll get that over to you and James, Josh, and David probably early next week for that.
Fantastic. Kind of related on this. Boy, I'm sorry, my voice is a little rough. Have you or anyone thought about elections to the TOC?
Yeah. So what we need to do is figure out how long after, like once the new steering committee is in place, do we want to give it 3 months, 6 months, 5 months? Like you all have to figure out, whoever's elected is going to have to figure out what that timeline is for that. And then anybody who wants to help, run an election, I'm happy to show everybody what I'm gonna do is create kind of like a template for how to do these. Like, here's the emails that go out. Here's the tools you got to be familiar with. Here's what you got to, like, all that kind of stuff. So all it is really a cut and paste. Change the dates, change the title of the election, and then you can run the election. So I'm hoping to set that up and have that ready for review before the end of this election. So anybody who wants to help do that can going forward. And there's lots of there's a lot of suggestions on how to set up a TOC from the CNCF to, you know, other communities like Fedora or Ubuntu or others. So you know, there's a lot of ways, but I think we should start thinking about those roles and responsibilities, what the requirements are to be elected. Like, is it still, like, obviously this is a technical steering committee, and like, what are the, just like it, like Fedora does a great job of it, Debian does a great job of it, the Ubuntu community does a great job. All of those do a great job of differentiating the requirements for a regular election versus a TOC versus other elections. So what are the requirements for to be part of the TOC? And then how, you know, we need to document that, run it by everybody, and then, you know, have it ready for when the new steering committee is in place. So all they have to do is tweak it a little bit, and then we can kick off that election as well.
I imagine the main deliverable there would be to put in the same way that we've got the steering committee document on the community repo, we should make one for the TOC.
Correct. I've started drafting one, but you know, I just started drafting it because I didn't know what the thoughts were on that, but I knew we would need something. So I can go ahead and put a proposal in place if that helps.
I mean, I think there's a few things that were specified in the steering committee's document, obviously, but not so maybe some of those things might be kind of fixed in there already. Of course, they can be changed, but like, but in my mind, it's mostly about just the procedural stuff, similar to how there's already, but that's also, it is still like the all of the power for the technical oversight committee comes from the steering committee anyway. So it's like,
most of what happens is that's a delegated committee. So the TOC would, oh no, sorry, the steering committee would delegate the authority to the TOC about technical decisions. So they would have to agree on what that delegated authority and responsibility, or role and responsibility, would be.
Okay. Just
So do you want me to start a process doc so everybody can take a look at it and add to it, or an issue or whatever, or like, what do you want me to do? Because I've already started it, but how do we want to proceed on that? Because I think we should have the majority of it done by the time the new steering committee is in place.
My preference is to get the TOC in place as quickly as possible.
Okay. Then I will start a doc then.
but we also but there's like some seriously central questions that we just have no answer to right now, which is, is it even an elected position?
It should be. Like, maybe the first one, and this is something we can discuss, the first one could be appointed and then a year later it's elected, but we can put in placeholders for all of that. So it's better to have something that people can redline or ask questions about or mark through than a blank doc to hand to the new steering committee and go, hey, figure it out, when there's lots of us who've been through this before and we can come up with, you know, a straw or a placeholder for this. So I don't think the questions are that big of a deal. We just put in placeholders until we can get it answered. But it's better to have at least something started than nothing at all.
Well, then, yeah, probably. I mean, everyone's free to make a pull request, and then we can use it as a central point of discussion, right? If you want to make the main pull request, as long as you're willing to do it.
Yeah, I can do that. I've already started it, so I just haven't done a pull request for it.
Thank you very much for your work.
Yeah. And then something else, just separate from this, Josh. everybody who submitted talks for Kubeflow Summit should have their notifications now. So just to let everybody know in case I lose my voice before the end of this call.
What are the dates on that again?
March, what is, let me look right quick. It is. So if you don't have it, let me know. Just send me an email or ping me on Slack. Hold on.
Hey, Jono, just a heads up. The next item I want to talk about is the LLM API.
Oh, sorry.
No, go
It
ahead.
is, it's March 19th through the 22nd.
And you have your sponsors lined up.
So I talked to the CNCF, and we don't have to have, we can go in with no sponsors, but we do have some, or because basically they told me if everybody just wants to go in as a gold sponsor, that's fine, which is I think right at 10,000 or less than that. We don't have to have the platinum and diamond and all that. We don't have to have that. Everybody could even go in as just a diamond, I mean, a gold sponsor, and that would be fine too. So the prospectus, I can add the prospectus here, and I can also send out an email. You know, if somebody doesn't want to do 35K, I can't see anybody doing 35K for, you know, a half day event. But if you want to, you know, contribute 10K or something like that, you can do, there's no set, oh, you have to have one diamond, you have to have 2 platinum, you know, 4 gold or whatever. Everybody can be gold if you want. So I'll send that out in an email, but we don't have to have any more, but it would be nice if we did.
Sounds good. All right. All right, I'm going to keep moving. We can come back to this if we need to, or something else comes up. Amber, is that okay?
That is perfect. Thank
All
you.
right. Johnny, I'm going to put you on the spot. No notice, no nothing. So lucky you.
Nope.
I'm wondering how you're coming with, what are we calling this? The LLM training API or just the training API update? How do you want to refer to this?
Right. So it's in really good shape. So almost the major PRs are already raised. That's in review state. Examples are being added. Thanks to all, including Andre and other folks for like the training operator leads for reviewing that and getting to that shape. So we are ready there. So in couple of in a couple of weeks, I'm pretty sure everything should be in, and we will have a solid example as a notebook for someone to try it out as well. And we are trying to reach the community also to try this and provide early feedback on the train API. So in the first version, we are providing Hugging Face as a model provider, and it also supports S3 and Hugging Face itself as a dataset provider. So that actually means user can choose a dataset from Hugging Face on a particular model, which is again stored on Hugging Face, and do fine tuning using training operator with a multi-node, multi-GPU setup, fully distributed without any code change. So they can fully focus on the data science perspective, right? Like fully just on the training part, and rest all things should be automated, completely taken away from the infra would be completely hidden from the data scientist perspective. So we have high expectations on this regarding the usage, and some of our users also have conveyed the feedback regarding. So I'll announce to the community like in a week once it is merged and fully there, so people can try it out, so that we have kind of like a semi-stable version in the coming release.
So an example notebook may be available this month.
Yes.
Well, this is very exciting. What can users do? Do you
So-
need people to come up with use cases to kind of test it? Do you have a test plan that they can run on their own? I guess, is that what the notebook is, or what do you want users to prepare to be able to do?
We expect most users right now who really want to try on LLMs, for them, it will be a base model will be definitely on Hugging Face. So they will take some popular models like Llama or Falcon or like Mistral, like some popular models right now on Hugging Face, and they have some custom data set, right? And that's a use case with majority of users for doing some kind of fine tuning. So we are trying to address that crowd, and we expect that to be the majority of users who are trying to do something in the LLM. A popular model in Hugging Face, and they have a custom data set. So they can try this notebook and should be able to run a fully distributed multi-GPU, multi-node, right? Which is, so they don't need to worry anything about the infra. So I urge people to try this in their setup for their LLM requirements, and give us feedback whether they actually need more customization or if they have a different use case regarding that.
So do users have a custom data set that they want to test basically with, or fine tune one of these models with? Is that kind of what would help?
Yes, yes. So very few users are unless hyperscalers, they will use some popular models on Hugging Face. That will be, and that's what we are seeing, right? Like people try on some popular models, but they have their own data sets on for fine tuning, right? So which is their proprietary data. So that they can actually work on, and we are trying to provide multiple data set provider options also. So Hugging Face is one. But again, then you have to upload to Hugging Face. We are also trying to add S3 support, so they can store data set in S3, for example. And it is pluggable, so we can bring any provider, either for model or for data set. So it doesn't mean that it is restricted to Hugging Face as such. They can bring any model which is stored outside Hugging Face repository as well.
You were talking about multi-node array clusters. Are you using the array in manifest/contrib, or is there a duplicate effort to do it?
Sorry, Julius, I didn't get the first part. Sorry.
You were talking about multi-node array clusters. Are you using the array that we have inside Kubeflow in
No, sorry.
manifest/contrib, or is this a...
No, we don't have an integration 3.
Okay, what
Julius,
did you talk then about?
Yeah, sorry for interrupting. We're using the PyTorch jobs with the multi-node instance running, where we have like the implementation of distributed PyTorch jobs within Kubeflow. We don't use Ray to train models large scale.
And what did you say then exactly about Ray? Maybe I didn't get it.
No, we don't use Ray in this initiative. We just use PyTorch jobs with the torch run capability to train on the native PyTorch APIs. So people just using the torch run, which is like the way of like what PyTorch community recommends to do to train their models on multiple workers.
So maybe you were just comparing it to some other people using Ray.
Yeah, because PyTorch jobs like it's like Kubernetes implementation for distributed PyTorch, right?
So this solution is fully built on our training operator. So it's actually built on, so because training operator supports distributed training in multiple aspects. So we are fully using the different aspects of training operator that we have currently. And this is actually built on top of that. So array effort is completely different.
Yeah, thank you very much. I just wanted to be sure.
Sure. Josh, you're on mute.
And this is this is an API. So there's new API calls that people are going to need to learn. Is that correct?
Yes. So they, for example, someone who has tried training, it should be pretty straightforward. So if they can provide, the API, they just need to provide the model name. Like if it is Hugging Face, they just need to provide location to the data set and any hyperparameters required for that, right? Like the learning rate and other things like which is specific to their training. And rest all things are taken care inside the SDK. So we'll provide a detailed example, like even in the community call as well, for someone to try it out. And then the notebook should explain everything.
Okay. Hopefully I didn't make you expose things before you were ready, but I think that it helps to.
We are there already. We are there.
Any comments from the community users? I find this to be, very much directionally correct in what we're hearing from the community, at least from what we're seeing in the literature. But it would be great if, people that are practicing could speak up and, give some feedback. Just to prepare for that, since we caught everybody off guard, I guess that you'll give us a little bit of a demo of the notebook sometime in the,
Yes.
Okay. So why don't we do that as, next steps is to review the notebook. We'll go on from there. Thanks for jumping in and just speaking off the cuff on that. That was fantastic. Thank you.
Josh, may I ask a quick question about this before we move on?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, so I just want to ask a community to add if you could let us know how you do fine tuning today, it would be really interesting to hear about it. Specifically what kind of models you're using, what kind of data set you're using, whether you use S3, GCS, or maybe some other data set providers, and what are the pain points today? Because this is a new approach, how we simplify the capabilities of using training operator to fine tune models. And we just want to see what kind of directions we want to move forward and support maybe more storage providers, data set providers, registries, right? Because we were speaking about maybe integrate with in the future, maybe Kubeflow model registry that the team is working on, right? So we would love to hear your feedback on this and your current experience. Yeah, thank you.
So please provide input on this, okay? Models, data sets, tuning. Okay. Okay, there's been a lot of work on the Kubeflow overview diagram. I don't have the link to that. If somebody has it and can bring it up or can just put the link in there. I looked at it, we've gone over a lot of different variations of this and, it looks like it's a combination of a lot of people's work. I say that tongue in cheek, but I think it's better than what we have. And I think it makes sense to move this forward. I know a lot of people on this have asked that this moves forward. What are we waiting for to get this approved? Do we need somebody from go ahead.
By the way, I'm literally just about to post one slight variation because me and Andre were just having a quick conversation about something. But once we've got that, then anyone can approve it. Who's an owner under started? Because that's the only one that's not approved. Let me check. Who's an owner under started? I actually might be, but I'll just check. No, I'm not. So we do need a root approver then, just because none of the people who are active are in the started one. So that means we'll need one of the main ones, which is either James Liu, James Wu, Chen, who's Chen Sun again? James someone.
Chen Sun.
So we need to Google it. We need to Google it.
All right. So I'd like to get this because like you, Matthew, I think that as good and as much effort as we've put into this, we should get it up here. So I'm going to ask for a volunteer to kind of walk through this chart in 3 minutes.
Well, so there's a slightly better version which explains what each of those components means on this. That's one of the updates that there's adding some light colored labels under the components. But let me just post it first.
You can check it in the comments, Josh, if you want to take a look at the latest one. In the comments.
Oh,
on a conversation. Yeah.
Sorry.
So I'm just uploading a V3 which has less overwhelming with the
So that's this one?
Yeah, I'm just literally as you talk uploading the version which has less overwhelming labels.
Okay.
I've just commented it right
In
now.
general, we've got
I've just commented. Just refresh your page.
All right.
The main difference is that it makes those labels at the bottom much less prominent. See, there you go.
All right. So for anybody that might be watching this and is not familiar with Kubeflow, could somebody just spend literally 3 minutes walking through these 3 different component parts and just give an idea, just give an overview of each of these sections? Anybody want to take a volunteer on that?
Probably Andre should.
Do we like do want it from us or from the people who are new to the Kubeflow community?
All right, so just explain,
Yeah,
in your opinion, why we have this section,
sure.
and this section, just so in a way that they can say, okay, I get an idea. I've got walking around knowledge, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think like the main idea is like as Mario said, like we want to have 2 diagrams. So this is more like high level diagram, and the initial idea was Kubeflow is a platform which kind of like address all the like MLOps lifecycle, all the steps of MLOps lifecycle, and it tries to bring the ML libraries to cloud native world by having these different components, right? So we give you an ability to train, tune, serve, develop your models, build ML pipelines, and consume information on a central dashboard. So basically, Kubeflow is like a layer between the ML libraries and Kubernetes and provides different interfaces, right? We didn't mention here about SDK of APIs to reduce complexity, but just to give you an idea what Kubeflow is and what kind of like ML problems it addresses today. I hope it makes sense. And it's also like shows that Kubeflow can run on any cloud, where you can run Kubernetes starting from your local machine all the way to third-party cloud or on-premises infrastructure.
So if it's not clear from that, the top section is like end user tools that we think are popular, but that's not limited to that. We support more than that, obviously. The middle section are the actual parts of Kubeflow, which we control. The bottom parts are the infrastructure layer, which are all the ways you can run Kubernetes, because Kubeflow can run anywhere that Kubernetes can.
Okay, we're getting better. We're getting better at explaining it. I like it.
Yeah, also like so sorry, Josh. I mean, do we have time to discuss the commodity diagram a little bit, or we need to move on? Like we have like another more detailed diagram in this conversation.
If you have a link
Just
to
scroll
it,
up just a little bit. Just scroll up just a little bit on that.
Okay, hold on.
It's not. This one's not ready to be published yet. It's done. That was done in PowerPoint, but so we need to translate it into
Sorry, I don't.
It's called the Kubeflow. So it's called the
one?
Kubeflow universe diagram. This one here. This is like what I'm calling the Kubeflow universe diagram, which is going to get more detailed even than this, probably. Kind of like there's a CNCF universe diagram, you know. The colors, to be clear, the colors don't mean anything. That's just random colors that I thought looked nice.
So I think as a follow-up here, we just need to work together with the community to because this is more detailed, and this is replacing the existing one, which is where like which is legacy diagram, and this is like present the actual all the components of Kubeflow and all
And
them.
the main difference is it has external add-ons as well.
Yeah, so here's something that I would say might be a component that we need to somehow identify is all the APIs, SDKs, and UIs and how they, because I mean, I get how all these kind of give people the architecture of where things fit and definitely needed. But when you're actually using it, how do you know which piece I'm supposed to be connecting to, if you know what I mean? So I don't know. We had that earlier in that other diagram. We had some of the UIs and the SDK. I don't even know if we can do the user interface, right? Options some way logically.
So my thought process is that there's there's different purposes for different information, right? If you're coming, so the main goals of these diagrams is to help people. The first one that we just showed before is to help show people who are really new to Kubeflow, and it's to give people a diagram they can copy into their presentations that says, what the heck is Kubeflow, right? Then the next one is like, how does Kubeflow work? Which is the one that you're looking at here, which will obviously become more detailed. And it's obviously a matter for debate as to how detailed we should go. But then after that, I think each component can also have its own, how does it work, for like SDKs and APIs and stuff. But then the one thing that I agree that you mentioned, which is that for a new user, while that overview diagram does explain it with those labels now, that's for model training, that's for model serving, maybe we need a flow chart which says like, what are you doing, it's like a flow from step 1 is you create a notebook. Step 2 is you know what I mean? Like these kind of things.
Yeah, I guess my kind of theory, and maybe I'm trying to do too much. I think this is all great. Let's get this finished. But somewhere down the road, it's like I'm in a Jupyter notebook. I have, Jupyter stuff I'm interfacing with. There's notebook stuff I'm interfacing with. And if I'm an advanced user, there might even be some Kubernetes type things that I'm just, working with. Maybe that's maybe there's no way we can diagram that. Right. But there's just a lot of pieces, right?
Yeah, I think the main thing we're trying to do is most people learn about Kubeflow from a presentation, either from their own team or from a video. So it's like we're trying to give people resources they can use to do those presentations because we see the current diagrams being used and they're really confusing. Yeah.
Yeah. I think from a diagram and architecture standpoint, these are perfect. Let's just get those done. Let's get this one approved. So are we done on this
Yeah,
one?
I just need to
Just
upload
make that update. Yeah.
Yeah, I will
Okay.
make that update like in
You
a few
guys
minutes.
make the update. Everybody put a looks good to me.
Is a
on-
Googler in the chat right now? Is any Googler in the chat right now that can approve it? No, it doesn't look like it.
Okay, we've got to solve this problem where we've got to have somebody that approves.
To be
these.
clear, I've got a PR that will do that up the top there. That's one of the PRs at the top there that will do it, which makes you and me, Josh, approvers.
All right, we've got to get this resolved because it's a new year and we
Josh.
need. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of like your idea, I really like it. And if you go to kubeflow.org, we're already having something serial what you mentioned about the experiment phase. So if you can show the community,
Oh yeah,
like,
actually that's a good point. The front page when we redid it did kind of do that, yeah.
and
Okay.
we just need to update it with the existing Kubeflow components. So maybe you can quickly open kubeflow.org and going to architecture page. Yeah, it's in
So
there.
it's under getting started.
Yeah, and the getting started and the architecture page. Yeah, if you scroll down after the video, yeah, this one. Sorry, this one. So this is what's created a while ago, but just explaining the each stage of ML lifecycle and how people what they need to do for every starting from model development to model training, fine tuning, serving, right? We can think about the same manner by just updating this, right?
there's also that introduction page video that we probably need to either drop or replace with someone else's one. But it's actually all right. People debate this all the time, but like it is all right, but it's not the most helpful.
And this is the chart that's going to be replaced, basically,
By
right
that
here,
universe one. By the universe one, yeah.
by the one we had previously.
Not the so the introduction, go back to the introduction page. The place that the first one
mhm.
is going to be added is actually this page. So this is the one with the basic overview diagram. And this one doesn't have a diagram right now.
Mhm.
But then the architecture will get the Kubeflow universe one. It'll
Hey,
probably be less
Matthew.
colorful. To be clear, it'll probably be less colorful in the real one.
Hey, Matthew. I'm going to take a look at the PR after the meeting, okay?
Oh yeah, so just wait until Andre makes one push, which he should do in a few seconds to update with the latest one. But if you can do that, that would be amazing, James.
Sure. I will wait for everybody in discussion to adjust and then agree
Oh, I
upon
think
the
we're all
topic.
pretty much happy. I think it's
Yes.
just Andre needs to push the change, and as long as then you're happy, then we can do follow-up updates as well pretty easily.
Sure. I don't have a very strong opinion, so just let's wait for others to make the final edit. I can make an approval. Okay,
Sounds amazing.
thank you.
All right. Well, thanks to everybody to pulling this off. I know it took a lot of work. Anybody that's been involved in this knows it takes a lot of work to get this kind of worked out, designed, developed, agreed upon. The fact that we're here, let's get it done. It'll be better than what we have, and we can always improve upon it. Okay, we talked about the Kubeflow Summit. We've got two other things to go to. Let's talk about the Spark operator update. Anybody want to give an update on the Spark operator?
Yeah, maybe I think I will do it quick. So we had a great chat with the steering committee, and we kind of like agree that we should move forward. So this is the PR of the checklist that we need to do to make the final merge. So first of all, I just want to ask a question since James is here. James, do you know like if James Wu asked about the internal Google approval to move this forward? Or you didn't ask him about it?
So I believe James Wu has been in the meeting in the steering committee.
Okay.
About getting the approval, but like he is returning from out of office. I think he has a meeting last week, but I didn't see the conversation that he has reached out to Spark operator. So I'm going to ask him again. Okay, and then I will reach back to you. But I think it's probably the owner of the Spark on Kubernetes operator. They probably will receive an email address, email notification as well. If not, then probably I will reach out to James again.
Yeah, because like we already discussed that the next step would be just have a person have admin access to the Google Cloud platform on GitHub org and the Kubeflow GitHub, so we can do the transfer of the repo.
Yes, definitely. Like yes, let me make sure to send it out to James Wu. Actually, let me also create a Slack conversation with you and also James Wu as well, so we can track the conversation more transparently.
Yeah, that would be nice. And also I need to add Marcin, Var, and Chauran, who just initial maintainers of the Spark operator.
Sure. Yeah. Feel free to add more people to the chat as well. Yes.
By the way, when you make someone a maintainer, sorry, when you make a new repo, I don't know if the owner's files immediately start getting enforced until you make a change in the repo configs.
Yeah, so this one, you're talking about tights, right, Matthew?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to ask a question. Maybe James, like, so to configure tights, what exactly do you need to do on a new repo after we have an owner's file?
That one I actually don't know. I need to do some research on that. What does the tight tool do for
No,
new
this is
repo?
the whole PR. That's like So like when you make a PR, that's the thing that says you're approved or not approved based off the owner's files.
Ah, I see. So basically, it's the tool for kind of running pre-submit and then adding label,
And
merging
enforcing the owner's
PR.
files. Yeah, the thing that
I
actually
see.
is allowed to merge the PRs. Yeah. So
Yeah.
so I think there's two factors. The first one is that the bot needs to have access to the repo, but that's fine because it's an admin on the org, so it should be fine. Then the
Mhm.
second one is that also, I don't know if there was anyone previously directly committing to the repo. They won't be able to do that anymore. Obviously, the bot will have to commit. And so there's a tied config somewhere, but I don't even remember where it is, to be honest.
Yeah, let me look it up. I think I know where it is, but it's very long time ago, so I need to do some research. Yeah, thank you for letting me know. I will reach out for James for help as well.
Yeah, I remember.
Thank you.
I remember previous streams we had like some configs on internal ACLs repo. Maybe some of there that we need
It's
some.
probably there, but I actually think it might be in a Google Cloud repo or something like that.
Yes, I need to dig it up. I'm sorry, I don't have a right answer to you at the moment. But yeah, let me find it out. Okay.
Let's just recap where we're at. We've approved from the steering committee to accept the Spark operator as a core component, correct, Andre? That's number one. That's been approved.
Yep.
Working on transferring, working on the tide. We're working on getting adding the maintainers and the owner's file and modifying the contributing doc.
Yep.
That's our next steps. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me just ask from the community, any questions, comments, concerns on this plan? Okay. Andre, anything else you'd like to say about this? I'd like to leave a few minutes for the model registry update.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think we just need to merge the PR in the community repo to move this forward. Just someone just can approve it after your LGTM. That would be nice. Thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you, Andre. It's a victory. We got that done last week. So thanks for keeping the foot on the pedal there early in the year. All right. I don't know if Ramesh is here.
Yep, I am here, Josh. I can take this one. Thank you. Last week we met with the steering committee and we got approval for the model registry as a project in the Kubeflow community, but there were a few other asks from the steering committee that were documented in this the PR you are looking at. In terms of the ownership and in terms of the support and also the roadmap. But even to, so we are ready to, we have said that we have no problems in committing to that and adhere by those rules and regulations of the Kubeflow community. The current next step seems to be the creation of the repository itself so that we can have this one submitted as a formal PRs and adhere to those.
So wait. So are you making your own repo, sorry, or are you talking about
No,
Kubeflow org?
In the Kubeflow community. So if you look in this PR that Josh is projecting, right? There is we need a GitHub repository created for model registry under the Kubeflow organization, right? There is a owner's file needs to be created for that. And there needs to be a README file that is going to specifically ask for, since majority of the developers right now is from Red Hat and IBM side, there is a ask from the community that, we oblige to the open source principles and ensuring the transparency and community ownership of it, right? So we pledge to that. And also, in case if Red Hat pulls from the community for any reason after the initial release, right? We are going to commit to at least a minimum 12 months of maintenance of that project from that date onwards. So such that we are not leaving the community in lurch in the middle of a release or something of those lines. So
just one quick question there. Is there a is the project actually finished, or is it going to be just developed on the Kubeflow org?
There is parts of it is we are working as a open data hub open data hub community project. So that's what we are going to bring it in. But I would not say that it's finished. It's
So my main concern then is just making sure that the repo is very clear that it is an alpha or an in development component.
Yes.
And also what the name of the repo should be. Is it going to have a name? Like, is it going to, because like we have a couple of different naming conventions, right? It could be Kubeflow model registry, which does, I mean, that's not bad. I'm not against that, but it does imply that we don't accept other model registries, which is fine, which we don't really do. We don't really, so it's fine. Or is it going to have a fun name like, Kubeflow Aardvark? I don't know, something random, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
we just go with the model registry. That's if you want to prefix the Kubeflow, I see some of the repos didn't have Kubeflow prefix in there, but we don't have any preference in.
oh no, you don't put the word Kubeflow in the actual repo name. It's more like the project name, like
Yeah,
the name of the
model registry is just fine. Yeah, that's what we use it in the Open Data Hub community too. So
is it only models or is it artifacts and other objects as well?
it can hold the other artifacts.
So should it be called Kubeflow registry then?
Good question. Yeah, I mean, I don't have any. I don't have any reservations against that name. No.
Could registry though? Think people think images.
Or it could be Kubeflow metadata or Kubeflow meta. That probably is a trademark. Probably can't use that.
Yeah.
Kubeflow, which that seems like they can't possibly hold that trademark, but whatever.
Right. I think registry just instead of calling model registry, instead of just calling registry seems a universal, right? That we could fit
Yeah,
in.
or machine learning registry. Like it's not necessarily. I agree that I agree it doesn't make sense. It makes sense either way. It's fine, but
I mean, if you want to call ML registry, if you want to be, that's fine. Just the registry. I think if you don't want the model registry, I would just call it registry, and so that we can expand to other.
well, it's more about what you plan to do with it. That's more what I'm asking. Like, so how
we
much of a
called it
focus
as
will that be?
Yeah, we called it as model registry right now, but yeah, definitely open to suggestions there.
I kind of like the model registry. Ricardo's got his hand up.
Yeah.
Yeah, a couple things here. I don't know if that will block this this whole workflow. I don't know if we have this item right before the GitHub repository creation, but I believe it worth having an issue to ask the community for a preferable name for this model registry proposal. Then give the community a timeline to suggest names and vote for the preferable name. Then we can finally move to the GitHub repo creation.
Well, I think the repo could just be called repo, a registry. Like it could be Kubeflow/registry, or it could, which is applicable either way. I don't think the word registry is not going to be there. Or it could be Kubeflow/model-registry. That's the only two options really, right?
Right. I think so. But what do you think about names? Do you feel like these will block the repo creation, or we can just create a Git repo with any random name and then rename when we have a final name that the community chose for this new component?
So we are gonna call registry and call the name as something, later on with
We can name it however we want. Yeah, so like my proposal there is what I was just saying, Ricardo, which is Kubeflow/registry becomes the name.
Mhm.
Just like we've got Kubeflow/pipelines. Is anyone else not okay with that, or do they want the model prefix?
I would, sorry, I would avoid naming this registry, to be honest. Like, I think it will be confusing with like with the image registry and other things like Helm charts. So
Okay, but like what I'm saying is the repo name. Like so
I mean-
Kubeflow slash something.
so if I guess like Ramesh, point me if I'm wrong, but I guess like this like kind of like inherit from MLMD. We don't want to call it Kubeflow MLMD, right?
No, I mean we are designing it much more than the MLMD, right? You know, it's not just the fork of MLMD at all.
And machine learning metadata doesn't represent the model registry itself, right? It's from the naming perspective.
Well, MLMD is more like a standard interface, or like even like
Mhm.
it's like a REST API. That's almost, it's not the same, but it's kind of like it's in the category in my mind as like REST API or gRPC.
So I think we should just move forward with like model registry initially and then just rename it, because I think the naming might take a while, to be honest, because we need to
So,
think
but
about it.
so what are you proposing? Are you saying Kubeflow
I
slash
would-
model
Yes,
dash
I
registry?
would propose, yeah, model dash registry, and then just rename it in the future if we need to. Because
I'm happy with that. And if Josh is happy with that, then I think we can probably just do that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm happy with that as well.
That's the original one.
So the
Parag.
only person who can create the repo is Googlers right now. And also it's the same issues with Tide and everything else. So maybe while we're doing the migration for the other one, we can make this repo. Oh, we also need to create owners actually as well, but no one actually has right access either. So like, you know how we have groups on the internal ACLs for other things? We would also need to, if we're going to give anyone more than just view access, you know.
do you need right access right now, Ramesh, like to the
Yeah. To the repo, you mean? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to create the owners and set up all these README files and stuff, right?
No, but you can do
but you-
that through PRs, right?
Yeah, you can do it through PRs, right?
Yeah, we can do that. I mean,
Well, I think someone should have right access, and I'm not saying you shouldn't,
right.
but like, because the big problem is without right access, you can't cut releases, you can't you can't tag things, you can't
Mhm.
you can't edit people's comments or delete abusive ones or close PRs forcibly or rename them to keep track of things. You know what I mean? Like you can't, without having, this is the main thing that I'm complaining about with the Kubeflow repo, because the notebooks work is done in there and I can't fix without further.
Yeah, at least one person from our team, you know, if you can have a right access to it.
Well, whoever has root approver access, in my mind, should also be trusted with right access.
Yeah, and I think that goes for all repositories because we all have to approve GitHub workflows and so on. Also, Kubeflow slash
Oh yeah, that's the
Kubeflow,
other thing. You
Kubeflow
have to
slash
approve GitHub
manifest.
workflows.
Yeah, so just because I don't know if James is still here, but are there a couple of those items that we're still trying to figure out on those right access issues that need to be looked at?
It's, you just went past it. Just went past it, Josh. There you go.
This one right here?
That's the one for Kubeflow, which is just about adding me and Kimonis as writers, but no one else. Like it doesn't affect anyone's existing permissions. It doesn't remove anyone. It just adds me and Kimonis as write access on the Kubeflow repo. Again, this is only controversial for the Kubeflow repo because it is the public facing repo, but not you know what I mean? It's not particularly different. Like for the model registry repo, it's not a problem at all for anyone to have write access because it's not the public facing repo. This is the only controversial one.
Right.
Because also I keep telling people this, but as long as we've set up the repo permissions correctly, having write access on the repo does not allow you to commit to master. As long as the repo is set up correctly. I don't know if it is right now. I can't check because I don't have admin on the repo, but the Prow can be the only one who's allowed to create commits to master while having someone have write access. It's definitely possible.
Is there a parallel PR for Julius and the manifest repo?
Not yet. I just posted in the PR, and it will also affect me and Kimonas in the Kubeflow slash manifest. Would be exactly the same stuff.
Matthew, I'd like to get these to the top of the list here.
I can move that one to the top, or you can just do it if you want.
Yeah.
I'll do it. It's fine.
All right. So if we could get that and Julius up to the top, I think this would help the community, and it also would set a precedent for the other repos that we're building, that this
We can
is,
just make an explicit rule which says if you're a root approver, you should have a right access to the repo. I mean, that just seems like an obvious rule. Except
Yeah.
under extreme cases.
and this is kind of why I'd like the TOC kind of put into place, because some of this I would like the TOC to kind of make some decisions on some of this stuff, and that's why I'm wanting to get the TOC in place before the end of March, if possible. Ramesh, we got way off track here. I think
Yeah,
we're close to your update being finished, but is there anything else you need?
so what is there anything else we need to do before somebody can create a repo for us? And we can submit PRs after that. That's fine.
Well,
you know.
I think we should just assign it to whoever's doing the one for the migration of the Kubeflow Spark operator. Kubeflow Spark operator, because that's just the same process, and they can just do two of them. Well, the
May I
exception of they have to
confirm?
click create.
May I confirm one thing? Is the model registry project being approved by the steering committee group?
Yes.
Yeah, we had this approved. We have it in the steering committee notes. I don't know if I have the steering committee notes accessible, but that was all discussed and approved last week.
I see. Let me try to figure out this one as well. Okay.
Thank you, James.
No problem.
Bye. Okay, we're 11 minutes over. I think we got a lot done today. Are there any other open items that we need to discuss?
I won't, but like just a quick update for people about Kubeflow Notebooks 2.0. I'm currently still traveling, so I'll probably, I mean, if people are in this meeting and still interested in contributing, we'll probably start doing regular meetings either next week, which I can organize this week, or the following week for doing it. But I've seen a lot of interest, obviously, in Kubeflow Notebooks 2.0 and what it will look like, and comments about how to do it. But if you have ideas and you have resource to help, please, when you see the messages, please participate.
Okay, Matthew, this is great. Question. In your opinion, is there a delivery for 1.9 and is it a blocking issue for 1.9? Is it a must-have for 1.9?
I don't think there's any issue in any project that could be blocking for the whole release if someone else had an amazing feature. But if in the absence of something that's worth releasing, it's an amazing feature that will make people upgrade, right? You know what I mean? Like that's kind of the like if you know, if Pipeline's Cathab Training Operator or any other project happens to have a major release before then that shouldn't block it unless we're both about at the same time, you know?
Okay, let me be more explicit. We have the model registry. Ramesh, I'll put him on the spot where I know, doesn't feel comfortable with a March or delivery date.
Sure.
If we could get the model registry and Kubeflow workbooks in, or Kubeflow Notebooks 2.0, whatever our term, is that something we'd hold 1.9 on in people's opinion? Or should we just move forward with a smaller release and pick those things up later? So
I think Kubeflow Notebooks 2.0, in the same way that Kubeflow pipelines, it remains to be seen how much work, how much of a beta alpha process we have. Like it could be that 1.9 includes Kubeflow Notebooks and Kubeflow Notebooks 2.0 as optional, you know, you choose one of them.
Got it. Okay. So it's going to be a multi-release type of value.
I would be surprised. So at very least, Kubeflow 1 and 2, Notebooks 1 and 2 will have to be in at least one release together so that people can migrate. But but it's not a significant migration. It is a little bit of a significant migration if you've got thousands of users, but like very few people do.
And Andre, I'm gonna put you on the spot too, buddy. Are we gonna get to a CatTib 1.0?
Yeah, I mean, we're planning to. So we might provide some updates on the Kubeflow summit regarding to 1.0. We want to like make the huge revamp of our APIs before 1.0, specifically splitting tuning NAS capabilities to different maybe CRDs. But we're still like discussing this because most of the people using Hyperparameter tuning today is in production. We just need to think about how we can make API stable, right?
Yep.
Yeah, because API is the most important thing from our perspective, right?
No, and I get it, and there's a lot of other things coming on with the LLM API and other things that you may want to tweak some stuff. So I get it. I'm just trying to get your thought process there, right? Working group leads, we do need an update from you guys, roadmaps. So can you guys think about scheduling? Just go ahead and get on to the agenda this month, if possible, what your roadmaps are, 5-10 minutes, whatever, minimum amount of work on your side. Just if you can give us an idea of what's going to happen with Kubeflow in those working groups. I think it's going to help the product manager. So that's a to-do and an ask, if you guys could think about that as well. I think that's it for today. Anything else? Anybody new wants to say hello? Happy New Year? Anything like that? Anybody new here?
Josh.
Yes.
Yeah, this is Dheeraj. I just had a quick question. I know we talked about the model registry repositories. We actually have two repositories, one for an operator that installs it and one for the backend service. Is that a problem to create two repositories in Kubeflow or not?
What's the operator actually do in this context?
The operator basically deploys MLMD as a C++ backend and a REST wrapper around it. And yeah, and it actually takes a custom resource definition for a quote unquote model registry that will point to like a database where data can be stored and stuff. So it just makes.
Can the tool be used without the operator?
You could, but you'd have to set up all the configure all the deployments and stuff manually. So you have to, yeah.
Because every other project has just raw manifests in its repo, or a Helm chart, one of the two.
Yeah, so we do have simple Docker Compose files and stuff, and if that's good enough,
Docker Compose.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Well, or we have Docker files and stuff, and we also have like a Docker Compose, sample files to.
Well, clearly it can't be Docker Compose, okay? Like you're not allowed to put Docker Compose code into the repo.
All right,
because this is the Kubernetes project.
Yeah, but that was just to show like a simple deployment. But yeah, we could add simple manifests in there, sample manifests, some customized files.
Just to add on this, sorry, Hiraj, I think I commented on your proposal before a couple of weeks. I would suggest you to put everything in one repo because, for example, like many components have many different like parts of the system. Like Kdev has 4 core components. Pipelines has like maybe 5 to 6, right? And all these components, they're stored in a single repo to make the official release for the users, right? Because I can give you an example for KTIP, right? We have the UI, we have the suggestions, we have the controller, and we make the release for all these components in one place. So if user just wants to take, for example, 0.15, they can just take this release branch and use all the components from single repo. For you to maintain 2 separate repo might be harder, I would say, because you need to maintain 2 separate releases, you need to merge them, right? And I mean, I don't know, like, if you really need 2 separate repos for this, so you can just combine everything in a single one, right?
But also, again, like, as a complete side to that, like, I understand the desire if there is a need to use the operator, like, it actually won't work without it. But if there isn't, then the operator may not even need to be official, right? Like, in a sense. Like, I'm not saying it can't be, but like, what I'm saying is like the rest of the Kubeflow projects, none of them need an operator to be deployed, right? They all just and if they do need a database, like you're saying, they just deploy a single instance database version as an example manifest, right? That users can then hook into their own one.
Right. So, in that sense, it's not that different from what, we are doing with MLMD and DSP, for example, right? The DSP, custom resource basically, has, manifest files and stuff that point to, that basically configure the MLMD server, right? So our operator kind of does the same kind of thing, but yeah, it's just that we have, two repos for it.
Do you release them independently? Like the only time things should ever be on separate repos is if they're 100% of the time completely independent. Like say, for example, your operator can deploy 10 different versions of the core app. Is that the case or not?
Yeah, the operator is, like I said, it's just creating a configuration, just deploying the thing from a configuration. So, yeah, the versions could be completely different. You could point to a different version of the model registry backend and the operator will, still deploy it.
I'm still a little bit concerned as to why an operator is necessary. I haven't looked at it, so it might be necessary. But I'm just saying, like,
yeah, simply because there are like a couple of deployments and some database configuration and stuff that needs to be done. So having all of that in a simple custom resource makes it easy, right?
But people don't like operators.
Josh, let me suggest sync up this after meeting.
Yeah.
Matt, one thing about maybe special about this operator is that there's this MLMD deployment, and unfortunately, MLMD is highly dependent on the Kubeflow pipelines. So, not having the operator might mean that you require to deploy KFP in order to have the MLMD for model registries backend. Probably it's something that we need to sync up between both the new working group that will host model registry and the pipelines working group.
I mean, do they have to be the same MLMD? Like by default, I mean?
Well, personally, MLMD as a backend is a good thing, and I believe it should be centralized. Having multiple instances of MLMD will mean that you are spreading artifacts across multiple instances, and probably it's bad for governance. But I don't have any objections to have multiple MLMD instances, but that's all my concern.
What I'm saying is by default, I'm saying by default, like, yes, we should have the combined Kubeflow. So in any case, a completely aside all this, and we don't need to keep talking about it forever, we can discuss it more later. But like the main thing is that you have to, like, to be part of Kubeflow, you have to put, you have to have complete working manifests in the manifest repo.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we can have manifest. Yeah, I think the only objection is, that I've heard is, there is a, slight resistance to having an operator, but, we can provide manifest for that. And the suggestion basically is, if we can combine the operator and our backend, repos together in a single repo, that would be preferable.
So either you could do that too, or you could just leave the operator in your own repo for the short term until we decide if it's strictly necessary. Okay, and then make sure that your model registry repo is completely self-contained. For the short term. That's my thought process. I mean, other people have their own ideas. That's just my idea.
Yeah, we can start with that and see how it goes.
Okay, I think we resolved quite a bit here today. We're way over time, so I'm gonna call time here if that's okay. I hope everybody
That's good, Josh.
Yeah. All right. All right, folks. Keep it rocking and rolling. We'll talk to you next week, I guess.
See ya, guys.
Thanks, y'all.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks.